Today, we are going to create beautiful home decor with a thrifted 1970s hymnal and this beautiful tattered quilt as part of the I Love Thrifty Flips. And our hosts today are Kristen of The Fifth Sparrow No More and Stephanie of House of Fritz. But for my piece, Sewing with Sue, I'm going to do something just a little bit different. I'll be flipping these thrifted items, but I'm also going to tell you a story. The story of my grandmother. She was a woman who restored everything she touched. Plus, at the end, I'm going to take the decor we made and show you how to style it in your home so that you have some ideas on how to make your home feel more like your heart. Let's get started.
My grandma, she was a restorer before it was ever trendy. She saved butter tins, buttons, fabric scraps, anything that still had life in it. Did you know someone like that? When you walked into her house, you would often hear her singing hymns when she cooked, or sewed, or rocked in her chair. So today, let's start by making a hymnal cone. It's inspired by her love of music and the way she believed ordinary things could still be beautiful. I'll walk you through how I make them and how I style them in my home. The first step is to find a hymn that resonates with you. First, I start with a heavier fabric, like a canvas or a duck fabric. This is a fabric that I got from an upholstery shop. It just gives your cone a little bit more stability. Lay your hymnal page down and just cut around an inch. I recommend a little less than an inch at the top, just so the cone isn't too long. Notice here that I'm using a marker to trace around it. This is a water-soluble marker that you get specifically for sewing. And so you'll see in just a minute, all you have to do is take a wet paper towel and wipe across it, and the marker will disappear. There are some spots of ink along the edge, so I just get that wet paper towel and take it right along the edge to make that marker disappear. The next step is to get some Ultra Hold heat bond. I like the Ultra Hold because it's a little bit heavier, and that along with the upholstery fabric just gives your cone a little bit more stability and strength. Now, as you notice here, I'm cutting just a little bigger than the hymnal sheet itself. This is because we want to make sure that every piece of the hymnal sheet has this heat bond to it so that it is adhered very well to the fabric. I'm going to grab a paper towel just to lay on there as I iron, because if your iron, since that heat bond is bigger than the hymnal, if your iron touches it, it will get gummy substance all over your iron. Whereas here, that gummy substance will just go on the paper towel. We do not want any irons being ruined. So make sure you use that paper towel. You'll notice when I pull this apart here, how you can see it sticks. That's that heat bond adhering to that paper towel. Just going to take scissors and trim around perfectly so that no extra heat bond is there. After I cut it, I run it over with the iron one more time just to make sure every little area is adhered. Now, we need to make sure it's cool before we pull that backing off so that the heat bond isn't gooey anymore. Go ahead and pull the backing off, and we're going to center it on our piece of fabric. The word restore means to renovate, repair, or to return something to an earlier condition. But to me, it's more than that. These hymnal pages once had life. They once had a story. They were once held in someone's hand. And so we're just giving them a new purpose. Sometimes restoring is a new chapter, and sometimes it's an entirely new book. We're going to stitch about 1/4 inch around the entire edge of our fabric. This is just because we have a raw edge to our fabric, and sometimes it can unravel. And so think of that thread as like a boundary line that if it starts to unravel, it'll fray and actually look beautiful on a project like this, but it's going to stop when it hits that thread, and so we don't have to worry about making it completely unravel. I was moving along just fine, and then my thread catches. But you know what? Sometimes that's what restoration looks like, and life can be that way too. We're going along, things feel steady, and then we hit a tangle. Emotions get knotted, words come out wrong. Sometimes we break connection. And in moments like this, the instinct is to just push through. But restoration, it asks us to pause, slow down, do what's needed to rebuild, seek forgiveness, and when the thread is ready, we begin again. For some reason, rolling it up sticks me every time. So put it face down and start with the bottom, roll it around, and kind of curve it around until the title is where you can see it, so it's not along the back. Again, you can stick your thumb like in the bottom and twist it if you want it tighter down there. Loosen it at the top. You get it till it's the cone shape that you like. You'll see me mess and tweak and fiddle with it some more. But don't hurry. Restoration, it's not meant to be a quick process. It takes time. Once you have it the way you want it, secure it with your fingers and then just add some glue along the edges there to make sure you secure it to itself. I like to really put my hand in there and pinch that glue so that I'm sure it sticks really good. And then a lot of times I'll add just a little dab down at the bottom as well, in the bottom part of the cone, to make sure that it adheres as well. It's not necessary, but it does help the cone keep its shape a little better. Since this was kind of a sentimental project and me looking back, I wanted to keep it simple as well because my grandmother really was a simple person. So I decided instead of ribbon or other things that you could use, just to use a simple jute for the string to make my hymnal cone into a peg hanger. I use an upholstery needle here so that the eye is big enough to fit the jute through. Now here comes an amazing hack. When material like this is tough to get through because it is a heavyweight material, a lot of times we use thimbles, but I've learned needle nose pliers. Just always make sure that needle is pointed away from you because you see there when it gives, it really does go. I've just found that it's such a better hack for getting a needle through thick fabric or a tough spot rather than a thimble. You have to let me know what you think. So now I'm putting it through the other side. I just line it up and pay attention to how far away from that center tip of the cone I am so that it's even. I'm going to tie it off, and then here you see, usually I tie a ribbon around the center. I decided to tie some jute. Again, keeping with the simple and keeping with the idea of old and restoration. So I cut it to go around multiple times. I just tie it around, knot it so that it's secure, then dot it with a bit of glue just to make sure it doesn't slip down over time. Now we're going to make a tag. I like to create a tag that has the hymnal title on it so that it stands out when it's laying down or at first sight people can glance. I decided this time to just use stamps so that it looks more rustic, more old-fashioned, more like things that reminded me of my grandma. And I definitely wasn't going for perfection because that's the beauty so many times in so much of this old stuff. It wasn't perfect. It was handmade, but it was made with love. And so I wanted this tag to resemble that same idea. We're just going to stitch around the tag. I'm using the same canvas backing as we use for the hymnal cone. I do suggest a zigzag stitch on this because it will keep your tag material from fraying. Now you see, I do love fraying the outer material, so I specifically pull my threads out of the canvas material so that it has a frayed edge just to give a little bit of texture. You don't have to do this, but it's just one of my signature marks in a lot of the things that I make. I like the frayed edges. I'm going to take another piece of jute, but this time I pull the strands apart so that I just have one of the 3 strands that are intertwined together. I want just a thin piece to put through this tag. Then I do the same trick with those needle nose pliers. We're going to go ahead and tie that on to the hymnal cone right under the jute there so that it attaches and hangs directly from where we tied it and created the bow. Just tie it off and voila! You have a cute hymnal cone with a tag. Now I felt like there was one more step that we needed. One of my favorite things as a child was to sort through my grandma's buttons. She had tins and tins of them. So I got out some of my antique buttons, sorted through them, and knew when I found the one, I would know. When I found it, I just added a little bit of glue and pushed it on good. Hold it there for a minute so you're sure it's secure. And then, my friends, your hymnal cone is finished. But just wait till you see how we style it. Let's start our second piece of home decor. This is actually a tattered quilt that my grandma made and my daughter loved oh so well. I always said this would make my grandma happy. It wouldn't make her happy if she knew we were trying to keep the quilts perfect and they were just tucked away in a cedar chest somewhere. It would make her happy, even though it's tattered, knowing that it was well loved and that we want to repurpose it into something equally beautiful. Measure the length of one side, multiply by 4, and add about 4 or 5 inches for your material strip we're going to use for binding. Make sure it's about 2 1/4 inches wide, and then we're going to fold it down, crease it in half, and press it with an iron. Once that's done, open it back up and cut a 45-degree angle just at one end of your binding. Now fold a 1/4 inch back and press it. Open your binding and lay it on the back side of your project. If you were making a pot holder or something else, you would do it this exact way to add binding. Go ahead, start down a little from the corner, and these clips, you all, are wonderful. They're so much better than pins, at least when you're working with edging. Sew about 1 inch down and stop. We're going to take it out and now fold our binding back over so it lines up and where you already have that crease in. Go ahead and take your little clips, clip them along again. You'll notice I place one right at the corner lined up because these clips are about 1/4 inch wide and I want to stop 1/4 inch from the bottom, so it's my perfect reminder. Now, when I put my material on here, I'm going to start sewing about 2 inches down from where I stopped before. Don't worry about the gap, it will get fixed. We're going to sew with my foot right along the edge of the material edge. You see I stop 1/4 inch from the edge, turn 45 degrees and sew out to the corner. This is going to help create a perfect corner seam. Flip the binding up so it's 45-degree angle, pull it directly down, and we're going to go ahead. You've created a perfect 45-degree corner. We're going to clip along, and again we're going to clip at that bottom corner because we're going to stop and do the same thing there. Stop with 1/4 inch left, move your fabric so that you sew a 45-degree angle and sew it out to the corner. My grandma hand-stitched quilts for every one of her grandchildren, and years after she passed, I discovered that she had actually intentionally stitched one for my first grandchild before they ever existed. I didn't find this out until a few years ago, well after the time she was gone. But what's beautiful is each of these quilts she creates, they carry a million memories. Memories I can pass down to my children because the pieces, they're parts of aprons she wore while she was baking cookies, pieces of curtains that you noticed when you were banned to the stairs for misbehaving, any item that became too tattered for their original use, she would keep and create new life. Once you get back around, you're going to tuck this piece into the other piece where we left that gap. Continue sewing down until you've sewn the entire way around the square. Snip the threads and then turn your project over, flipping the binding to the front. Think of it like wrapping a little fabric frame around your project. Now clip it in place all along the edges using those binding clips again. Just be sure to adjust as you go until your frame looks even and polished. Sew the entire way around about 1/8 of an inch from the inside of your binding seam. And once you're done, snip the threads and you are finished. This is what restoration is to me. That thread of connection and a story waiting to be continued. Now let's style them. I love styling restored pieces as foundations. Let them ground your space. They don't have to be perfect. Their beauty is in the story. I love stuffing the hymnal cones with seasonal greenery, and here I just laid it down and styled it for Valentine's. It of course works perfectly as a peg hanger. I actually attached some jute to use the quilt piece as a peg hanger as well. It's perfect draped out of a basket for a vintage vignette. In my space, the two style perfectly together because it's a wonderful way for me to honor my grandma and her memory.
Thank you for spending time with me. Today, it wasn't just about restoring these thrifted pieces. It was about slowing down. It was about paying attention and choosing to see value where others might not. It was about honoring what was, and it's about letting it live again in a different way. May your home and your heart be filled with pieces that tell a story that's worth continuing. Thank you for being here with me today. If this kind of storytelling connects with you, then I would love if you subscribed and join me again here. Until then, from my heart to your home, go make your home more like you. Have a great day, friends.